This live is going to be on my connection to the elementals, igniting the codes to the elementals, and some stories about the fairies and the elementals. There's quite a bit to cover, and I'm really, really excited as to what just happened in this last week. So I'm going to share with you some images of some mushroom circles and things that I took photos of. Anyway, I'll get into that soon, but just while we're waiting for people to come online and that sort of stuff, I will chat a little bit about myself. My name's Bobbie Richardson. I come from New Zealand. I'm now living in Australia, and I have had a thinner amnesia veil than most people. So it's not that I've remembered past lives as much as I've been able to communicate with those that are beyond, see different beings, have interaction all my life with everything from Pleiadian Lyrans, Anunnaki, reptilians, which wasn't the best one, elementals, and Gaia herself. I've had connections with Uluru. I went there with David Icke in 2011 and had an incredible experience. I've been found by a Cherokee elder who talked to me telepathically and ignited more passion and drive within me to figure out what is humanity's potential. So my whole drive has been guided towards New Earth. I've been shown New Earth places, what it feels like, and I'm just now starting to come forward with all of my stories. So that's a little bit about me. Hey, Franklin, how are you? So we're going to be talking about elementals today in the fairy world and bringing those back in. I also want to introduce my two books. I have a website, www.codestoanewreality.com, and it sells a couple of my books, this is illustrated for children specifically to ignite them. So yeah, all of these images, everything, I did everything but print this book. So I did the graphics, I did all the images, everything. And yeah, pretty excited about that. So that's one book. And then the other book is bringing two worlds together. And this is about bringing the elemental world. There's a lot of information in this as well. It's written for children, but there's a lot of information in it. It's got all my illustrations and my art and stuff as well. And there's codes and that you can decipher. And so, yeah, this book is written to bring two worlds together. So it says, what if Earth is connected to many other dimensions and other realities where animals can talk and different beings exist? What if everybody on Earth held the secret to connect these other realities? The adventures of Jonah and Kitty are the start of this quest, and you, the reader of this book, are the true beginnings of a world full of magic. So yeah, it's got a lot of stuff in it that I actually went through myself. So I've really just acknowledged the reality of it all. I call it faction, actually. It's, it really isn't completely true, but there's a lot of facts in it. That's what I say. This is the code that I made up for you guys to decipher. I don't know if you could see that, but it's pretty much fun. Anyway, the other two books that I've created. And yeah, so I'm just I'll wait a little bit longer, see if someone else. I've started this earlier on, and I know people in Australia aren't probably awake. I probably should have waited till 8 o'clock to do this one. That's okay. I'll just chat away. Also, oh no, I'll show that later. Okay, maybe I'll just get into it after my cup of tea. Okay, so this is what's happened. What happened was Gaia herself has been putting out a call to connect with humanity again. First of all, I'm just going to bring up the fact that Grandmother Parisha, this Cherokee elder, she's amazing, amazing lady that I met. She gave me a name, and the name was Alana Wa Nanahi. Alana Wa meant I carry the code on the back of the turtle to bring people through to the new earth, to ignite people into their intuition and their imagination and bring everything back in balance so that we can start stepping into creating something beautiful and new on earth. Nanahi, she said, meant fairy, the fairy clan. But when she sat next to me, she said, actually, you're creator of fairy, of the elemental world. So I sat with that for quite a few years and didn't really think too much of it. Just, went, okay, well, that's interesting that she said that. But I had some pretty amazing experiences. And before she even said that. So I had seen in a forest these little lights that flew by me. And I realized that the following weekend, I was given a message, woken up to this beautiful, pure music. And this voice in my mind said, what you saw on Saturday was real. So I realized then, after seeing an actual elemental fly by my sliding door, that the elementals were real, that the fairy world was real. And I'd had these dreams of being tiny and huge, the plants were huge and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. And since then, I'd had quite a few other experiences since Grandmother Prisha gave me the name as well. So I've really, I'm taking that all on board. I mean, I'm human, so we've been brought up to be skeptical of all these things. But I can't deny what I've seen and experienced myself. So I'm just going to say it as it is from my own, how I feel and what's happened. Since then, I had, I'll start with this is a pretty profound one. I went home one day late at night, and it was about 9 or 9:30 at night. I was carrying my children up the stairs. They were fairly young at the time, and I saw a light underneath the stairs, and this light happened, I thought someone had left a torch on, happened to be a luminescent mushroom. And I realized I had these, been woken up by 3 knocks on my door, and there was nobody there because my window of my bedroom literally was smack against the side of the door. So I could see that there was nobody there. And then I started realizing there was some sort of connection, someone wanting to connect to me from another reality. When I saw the luminescent mushroom, I actually honestly thought, oh no, I'm in for a crazy ass night here. And I went to sleep just as normal. I mean, I've seen so many things that it's like, yeah, whatever. I kind of forget about it, to tell you the truth. And then I woke up to this kind of indentation happening on my pillow, like footprints happening on my pillow. And I did not see this creature, but I imagined this creature was kind of like a hairy, nothing that I've seen on Earth, more like a character out of the movie called Labyrinth, where it has this pointy, sharp nose and little teeth. It's a little cartoon character, not cartoon, animal character. that was stepping on my pillow, and I could feel the indentation, just like somebody was stepping on it. So I went back to sleep after that, and I woke up, and here's this full size, I can only describe it as a man fairy, a full size man fairy sitting on my bed in front of me. And when I saw him, he had part of his face was covered in like a shadow cover, and his eyes went to the side of his head. They weren't just on the front like a human, so they actually literally went. The only time I've seen that is there was a Star Trek movie that came out, and there was a nurse at the beginning of the movie that was helping give birth to one of the main characters. I've forgotten his name. Everyone else is going to say, you should know that, you're a Trekkie. Anyway, she had these eyes that came to the side of her head, just like he did. And he, had a bare chest, and he was kind of just trying to connect with me. We had a kind of a chat. For some weird reason, Mexico came up. I have no idea why. I think that might have been somewhere that he was trying to connect with, or he came from, or something. I'm not sure. I can only tell you what I know. And then he stood up to go home, and when he did, he was pretending he had a phone in his hand. He didn't. And then he started talking. It was it was definitely fairy talk, it was Celtic talk, very Lord of the Rings language. And then when he put his phone down, like he was communicating to his reality, this grid line opened up in front of him, like there was these lines of light, and like they just got wider as they went further away, and they kind of stretched out like lines of light like that, and then going across like this. And then he walks into his reality. So that was a really full-on experience that I'd had. Also, when I walked through a forest in Maloney called Mary King Cross, a person next to me said, there's a porthole here. And for me, because I had so many experiences, I just went, oh yeah, there's a porthole around here. So whether that actual him saying that, or whether there was an actual porthole, whether him saying that actually ignited me to step through into a bit of a different reality, I'm not sure. But definitely there was two massive, huge oak trees, rose gum oak trees that were there, and they were huge and beautiful. So I think that there was some sort of gateway there that he was talking about. Anyway, what happened to me personally, I was walking along with him, and then I looked down, and what had happened was my mind had sped up to another frequency. So when I looked at my body became very, very slow motion. So in the next couple of very slow motion steps, I looked up, and there was a being, and he was only a couple of feet high. And he was looking at me and realized, and it was more of a shadow figure. I could see certain features of him, but he was like a little character, only a couple of feet high. And he saw that I noticed him, and then he ran across the path in front of me, hid behind a tree, and then he looked, saw that I could still see him, and then he zigzagged from behind one tree to another, getting further and further away, checking each time. It was really amazing. So that was one of the biggest experiences I've had from not waking up, just being, I was actually fully aware and awake at that moment, walking around, So I know that I've had a profound connection to the elemental world. Now, recently, with everything that's been changing, with everything that's happening on Earth at the moment, we have had a call out from Gaia herself, and she has been asking for help to connect back to humanity. And humanity has been, like in an intuitive space of awareness, starting to come online again. So our intuitive side is starting these last few months coming online. Like, I do talk about that a lot, I know. But Gaia has been asking for a call to connect with us as well. So what happens when something is being asked from the heart and, not from fear, is it happens. So in response, source energy creates this this reality to start coming through. So if any of you want something to happen, just ask from your heart that you want to do it, not from fear or greed or just, trying to up somebody else or be better than somebody else or whatever. No, ask from your heart what you really want and desire in your reality, and it will come straight back to you. Anyway, she asked, it's been activated. So what's happened is just the last few months, because humanity has had that intuitive activation, I decided, because Grandmother Purusha told me that I'm creator of elementals, that there's no reason, because I've done all this work meditating and helping awaken other people and get them on board. Because I've done all that work, I thought, why aren't I activating the elementals? And I know 100%, because I've met a lot of people, and I like this, that there's been a specific amount of souls that have come from the elemental world, and they've been born into now as humans, so that this specific time they can connect to the elementals, because they have a closer energy to them, and then they bring the messages through to the rest of the world of this connection that we can have. So what I do is I activate you guys who have come from from the elemental world straight as souls, and then I can always tell you guys, because whenever I've bumped into somebody, I'll just go up and say, you're from the fairy world, and they always say yes. Or the witches, I always seem to know who the witches are, because they worked very closely with the elementals. And witches, I'm not saying are what, is preconceived these days as to be witches. It's more, witches to me are people, family bloodlines that have held codes for the longest time connected to Gaia, to Earth herself, and all the magic that she holds. And then they have worked with the elementals. So the elementals have been, were created to bring humanity to Gaia in a way that we can share all the medicines of the plants and how Gaia's frequency is, and also connect with animals. There's all sorts of different connections that the elementals can bring our awareness to, and they help us grow our food, our plants, our medicine. There's a lot that they can share. So with all of these new souls coming straight from the elemental world into this world, into humanity, they will be slowly activated. So it was a couple of weeks ago, I decided to just do this meditation, and I stilled myself, and I went into the elemental world, and I said, hey guys, it's time to start activating the humans. So maybe you can get out there and, find those humans that have come, souls that have come straight from your world, and now connect with them a little bit more, and, increase that connection. So I asked this, it was about 2 weekends ago that I did this. And I only just realized this week when I was like doing my travels around and work, there was these massive, huge mushroom rings growing everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Now I'm going to share my screen. If I can remember how to share screen, select a window. I see if I can do this. Share screen. Okay, I might not be able to do this, but what I will do, okay, because I haven't see if it unable to share screen. Okay, I can't share my screen, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave for a second. I'm just going to get my phone and then I can share with you some images. Okay, so I'm hoping that you guys are going to be able to see this when I pull them up. So we're going to go that way. So, okay, yeah. So here's, this was all taken yesterday. This is just people's front lawns, right? And these ones were actually, someone had stood on these ones and they're dying. But, okay, that one wasn't a circle, but there's so many of these circles. Can you see the circle? It goes around like that. Another big circle. And they were literally growing everywhere. Not everywhere, not every single house had them. It was like but considering we have just had a rain, but not every rain brings mushrooms, right? So like there was literally hundreds of houses with these huge fairy rings. Now, what happened with me when I first met the elementals is after the experience of seeing them fly past my my sliding door and having a message from them and that, the next day I had these massive, huge mushroom rings growing in my backyard. So what they do is to come into our vibration, they come through the frequencies of these mushrooms. Now, as you know, mushrooms grow very quick and they disappear, and their frequency is very fast. So for them to come through, they use the mushrooms to come through, but in the circle, they use them in the circle. And they do that. They use them in the circle so that they can come through and also give you an opportunity to sit in the middle or stand in the middle of that circle. And when you stand in the middle of the circle, if you meditate, you can connect with those beings. You don't have to, because I didn't. Like they use those circles to come through, and then they can get to you while you're, asleep or while you're just waking up, and in that what they call twilight zone, and they can connect in that way. But you might start getting messages coming through. So I believe that each house that had a circle of mushroom circle, there was somebody in that household that was a soul straight from the elemental world. And those elementals or fairies or whatever you want to call them, were trying to connect with that person. Maybe there was a couple of people or one person in that. Sometimes there's families are born through from the elemental world too. But they're trying to connect with those people of those households. So so many houses that had these elementals. It was kind of like, I would probably say every 50th to 100, 50, 70th house had a circle. And, if you go down a street, I probably saw, probably every 50 houses, there was a circle. So I definitely have ignited something in this vicinity around here. And I know that a friend of mine who lives in, I think she said she lives in Gold Coast. She said also she had the same thing. We have had big rains, but not every rain brings all of these mushroom circles. And lots of times mushrooms will just grow sporadically, you know, wherever. But I've never seen so many circles, and even here, ever. So very unusual, considering I've just activated them like a week or two ago. So I just needed to share that with you guys and make you realize that hopefully you'll see this and you'll be more aware that there's some other things going on out there. Yeah. So I'll leave you at that, and yeah. Next time, I'll probably do some live readings. And from me and my beautiful little fairy, isn't she cute? We will see. Bye.